And we're live. Good morning, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
We are excited to have our special guest, Leisa Hart, on the webinar today. And if you want to drop a note in the chat, just tell us where you're joining from. Hope everybody's doing well this morning.
We're going to take a few minutes to let everybody get on because you don't want to miss any of Lisa's information. She's dropped some hints to us already that she has something that she's going to share that she hasn't shared anywhere ever before. So she even has us in suspense because we have no idea what that is.
Absolutely.
So we don't want you to miss any of this. And she is going to be an amazing guest. So how's the weather with you guys this morning? Today.
See, we've got some people from Northeast Wyoming. It's a place that I remember from childhood.
It's fantastic here in rural East Tennessee. A little crisp morning. Already walked the dogs, and it's been exciting. My wife got me a dog leash that is like a Y shape, so it clips around my waist, and then the dogs each have like a lead on them. And I don't know if it's a workout machine or a dog leash or what, but then we have a lot of deer, and I'm not like trying to exaggerate, but a couple of groups of 10. And so I feel like a dog sled, or maybe like that I'm a plow and they are the oxen and we are yoked. So it has been good. And I've heard of like people doing strength training that they want to lengthen their stride. And I'm telling you, this is a way to do that. You can lengthen your stride if you hitch yourself to a couple of dogs. So it's been a great day so far. Good things happening.
Yeah, your dogs can pull, I'm sure. You got the hip belt, right? So
it's been fun. So now I got to work on dog training because I don't need to do this every day. Or I don't need to go through that every day with them. But no, it's been fun, and I'm trying to get back in shape a little bit. So,
well, you helped give us some time here, John, so some more people could come on. All I was going to say that it's going to be a warm day in Kansas City, up to 55 for the first time in a month. So we're tickled with that.
Nice.
But,
all right. Well, let me start with. All right. So in just a few minutes, we're going to bring Leisa on. But as you guys saw on social media and email, we're really excited to kind of tie this into January as a time when we're all thinking about building healthy habits. And hopefully by now, all those New Year's resolutions that weren't achievable, you kind of be like, oh, that was crazy. But now it's like time to really think about what can you do just every day. And this is something I'm excited about. Leisa said all of her habits are something you can just bring into your everyday routine. So we're excited to hear more about that.
I was at a conference. It was in the trenches with Dr. Charlie Fagenholtz in Nashville last fall, and one of the speakers, a DC from I believe it's from the Boston area, named Dr. Christian Carroll. He said something that I think kind of is going to primed me to be receptive to what Leisa has to say. And Dr. Carroll, he said, and his was about health, and it was a really, really great talk. But something he said was on more of the inspirational side was like, hey, let's focus on doing 1% better, or trying to get 1% better each and every day. And I think that sometimes in life, it's hard to find those large incremental steps, but by striving just a little bit more, by lengthening your stride, as I was talking about earlier, like by working a little bit harder and increasing a little bit more each day, then over time, then we can really make large changes and see better results over time. So,
yeah. All right. Well, John, you want to tell us a little about Leisa?
I'm not going to do my crazy voice, Leisa Hart. Not a radio voice. So yes, about Leisa. Leisa Hart is a seasoned marketing specialist and on-air talent renowned for her engaging personality as the Warner Brothers Buns of Steel fitness icon. This role led her to a diverse career as a television and podcast host, inspirational speaker, video producer, and business strategist. Her media exposure includes appearances on Entertainment Tonight, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, NBC Today's Show, and many more. Her path incurred significant health challenges, which have allowed her to connect much more deeply with her audience. As she says, I'm honored to empower lives by sharing the struggles I've been blessed to overcome and the solutions that made it all possible.
All right. And I can read our disclaimer. Linda, you want to jump in?
You get to read it.
Okay. The exciting part. So a disclaimer for everyone joining. The WAVwatch is a low-risk acoustical frequency product in the general wellness category, designed to support self-care and overall wellness. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. The WAVwatch is not FDA approved or classified as a medical device, and its frequencies are considered experimental. All right. So we are just a little quick rundown for today. We're going to do an interview with Leisa. And for those of you who saw it by email or social media, we are going to do a giveaway at the end. So we've got a free WAVwatch to give away. And so you have to wait for the end. And we'll also take some questions from Leisa as well. So without further ado, I'm going to drop the slides and we're going to bring on our special guest, Leisa Hart. Welcome, Leisa.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. I've missed you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We were looking at with June when we saw you last. We met you earlier, but June was when you were on. So we are so appreciative that you were able to come back on this month. It's a perfect time.
It really, really is. And I am so excited to share some things with you guys today. Of course, we're going to be talking about my 5 healthy habits that I have them fall under the BRAVE acronym, which is BRAVE: balance, respect, adapt, visualize, and embrace. And these are 5 healthy habits that have helped me make it through some really, really challenging times. And before I even go into the 5 healthy habits, I've just got to share how much the WAVwatch has helped me to even be able to create these healthy habits. And so it has been a huge part of my journey. So I was on your webinar, Linda, did you say last June?
Yes.
Okay. That was just about the worst time of my entire life. And I even looked at our webinar footage and saw how much my jaw was grinding and everything. I was in a horrible state with my health. And I had just been diagnosed with Lyme disease. And it made a lot of sense for the last pretty much my children's lives. My kids are now 19, 22, and 24. And they, for most of their lives that they remember Mom, they do not know the Leisa Hart that the world knows. And so they had seen Mom mostly sick, in bed, in pain, and depressed and tired. And so the things that Lyme disease brought on for me, I felt like I was in the disease dressing room. You know, what's wrong with Leisa? And so during that period of time, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, gout, cluster headaches, which are also suicide headaches because they hurt that bad, high blood pressure, arrhythmia, and it goes on and on. And all of that led to sleep deprivation, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. And so even to pull off that interview, that webinar in June, I'm pretty sure I had a TENS unit on to try and combat the pain, I was just trying to make it through my days. And so Linda, when I had met you at, what was it? It was the biohacking, not a concert. It felt like a concert to me. Conference. Yes. I still have some cognitive slowing as a result of the Lyme disease. So if I'm missing a word, please help me out.
Hey, I miss words all the time.
But when we met at the biohacking conference, as I mentioned to you, when I was looking to the list of speakers, you had me at frequency. I was like, no, I'm going to see this woman speak. And I had already been researching frequency so much and trying to help myself, try to get out of the hole. Now, I was able to combat the Lyme disease with I had to go the MD route and the naturopath route. But that WAVwatch became just a part of me, and a way for me to, instead of trying to find frequencies on YouTube and here and there and trying to piecemeal something for myself, this became just a huge, huge benefit for me. And I can't wait to explore the 2.0 more because of the ease. And I'm sure, Linda, you'll be telling us more about that. But the things that I'm going to share with you today are what have been in my bag of tricks to come up for air. And so this Brave, it's an initiative that I'm starting, and it's called bravecompass.org. And this is to help people visualize and see within themselves their secret superpower. And that sometimes we feel when we have something like me, I was, the Lyme disease diagnosis, but the big diagnosis that came out of that also was bipolar disorder. And so this is my first time to publicly announce that.
Wow.
So
so I used to cry all the time because I was in pain and hurting and sad. And now I'm like, I have the opportunity to share with people some of the tools that have helped me come up for air and realize that I do not have a scarlet letter on my face. And that in my disorder, there's actually strength and there are superpowers. And other people's disorders like ADHD and OCD and anxiety and all of those things, there are actually superpowers that come with that. People with bipolar disorder, I found that I'm actually in a very exclusive club. I decided to look at the bright side, and I found that I'm amongst Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Ernest Hemingway. The list goes on and on. In the public eye today, there's Ted Turner, Mariah Carey, Selena Gomez, Robin Williams, God rest his soul. The list goes on and on there. And I found that, well, it is because of that secret superpower that makes us be able to lead and encourage and invent and motivate and inspire others. But we just need to find the balance so that then we just don't fall down into that state of depression. And I know with every fiber of my being that the WAVwatch has been a big tool for me. So with that, I'm going to take a deep breath. And everybody, I want you to even just close your eyes for a moment. Feel the stillness. And I want you to think about the most amazing thing about you that makes you brave, that makes you strong, that makes you powerful. And maybe it's something that you are keeping a secret from everyone else. Maybe it's something that you are not even admitting and acknowledging to yourself. Maybe it's something that you are muting by, instead of saying, I am so talented, maybe you're saying, I'm not good enough. Hogwash. Swap that feeling and embrace how strong you really are. So with that, I'm going to take you through my 5 healthy habits, and I intertwine these throughout the day with my WAVwatch, depending upon what frequency and what thing it is that I'm doing, that's where I'm going to my WAVwatch. So my first is balance. You need to, first thing in the morning, balance your energy with some active movements, an active wake up routine. You know, some people will have the school of thought that, well, I'm just going to work out in the afternoon. Fine, great, do that too to relieve some stress. But you have got to be moving your body, even if it's just for 2 minutes in the morning, because this activates your brain, it activates your body, and it sets a tone for you to have a really, really positive day, getting that oxygen flowing, the blood flowing. So that's the B in Brave, balance. Next, respect. I want you to respect your body with nourishing nutrition. It's really important to get yourself those proteins, the healthy fiber, and the healthy fats are essential in the morning. And hydration. This is going to be in the forms of whether it's water or herbal tea. I love to have lemon water in the morning. And this is going to improve your digestion, your metabolism, your mental clarity. Some easy things. I have a smoothie every morning. I work with a company called First Fitness Nutrition, and we have fabulous shakes. And that for me is just a real go-to. Another one of my favorites is avocado toast with some eggs for the protein.
That's fine.
Is that one yours?
I like that one. Yeah.
Awesome. So I kind of like to call it the first fuel rule, that what you put into your body, into your mouth, and into your mind first thing in the morning is so important. And folks at home listening, hopefully you've already got a notepad out, and just write down some ideas and maybe congratulate yourself with what you're already doing that's right. I just want to enhance what you're doing. Now the A, adapt. Adapt your focus with a thought swap. And this is actually something that I started early on with my kids. And we did a thought swap. I didn't call it that then, but it was that they wanted to go do this. Well, is that really going to be in your best interest? Or could we swap it? So I love acronyms, and SWAP stands for shift, write, affirm, and practice. Your thought swap. So if we have negative thoughts, they tend to play in loops in our head. I mean, the amount of thoughts that go through our head, we're talking to ourselves all day long. And a lot of times we are not very nice to ourselves. So I need you to shift and identify that thought and swap it out for a better one. The W in swap, write. Reframe it with a positive statement. Instead of, oh, I'm always late, go ahead and trick yourself, because before long you'll start believing it. I am always on time, and furthermore, I'm early. and I'm doing it right now. The A, affirm. Say it out loud and say it with conviction. You know, and going back to kids, that they can really use their imagination. Well, we can too. You can imagine yourself into that more efficient person. And then practice. Encourage these things by making them a daily habit. Now, for me, a real life example is that I typically had not been a morning person. And I would always say, oh, I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning person. Well, the night owl stuff was not really being very healthy for me. And so I just started shifting and swapping my thoughts and making myself believe I am a morning person. And before you know it, I became a morning person, and I'm much better because of it. And never mind the fact that I had my little WAVwatch on throughout the night that was helping with the appropriate frequencies to get that good night rest. All right. Visualize. Visualize gratitude not only for what has happened in the past, but for what is going on today, and the key for what you hope to happen in the future. So visualizing definitely throughout the day, you know, we have all heard a lot about gratitude. Yes, doing that in the morning when you first wake up, but also throughout the day. and definitely at the end of the day. So again, thanking, being grateful for maybe something that happened earlier today, going through your day, and write down 3 or 4 things that maybe it was the little thing that you thought was a coincidence. Maybe it wasn't. That, oh, you got a meeting that was switched and the time switched, and you might have been thinking, oh gosh, I really wanted to get that done at 12 o'clock, but then it switched to 2 o'clock, and then it was even better because the alignment and the frequency and the circumstances were better. So little things like that. And then even, that you got the great parking space. Things that you can be grateful for, big and small, that happened throughout the day. And then this is a big one, folks. When you're getting ready to lay your head to rest, I want you to be thankful and grateful for the things to come tomorrow, and start visualizing how you want tomorrow to look, because you are the master of your subconscious mind, and you can tell it and form it and mold it into what you want to have happen the next day. Because guess what? If you go to bed visualizing how horrible your day was and how somebody cut you off on the road or somebody stole your idea and that it's probably going to happen tomorrow, you know what? It probably will, because you made it so. So how about making it so in the positive? Form and visualize what you want to happen the next day. And then the last is of the brave and the 5 healthy habits is embrace. I want you to embrace rest with what I call a digital detox. And this is my 60-minute rule. You're not hearing it for the first time from me. And some of you might be rolling your eyes. No, I'm going to stay on my iPhone or on my laptop until I just pass out. You know what? You're not doing yourself or anyone any good, because then your neurotransmitters are going to be off in your brain throughout the night. You're going to be having those drop-down menus in your brain from the social media, from the work program that you're trying to put together. And that's what's going to be going on through your mind at night, and you are not going to get restful sleep. So do yourself, your loved ones, your coworkers, your boss, yourself a huge favor. Shut that digital time down 60 minutes before you go to bed. So what are you going to do with your time? Maybe you read an actual book instead of watching and listening to one. It's that blue light that suppresses the melatonin production. And folks, this isn't just an opinion. This is science, where we need to shut our minds down so that we can get a good night's rest. So 5 pillars or 5 healthy habits. And as I'm saying pillars, these are going to become part of my book, my program. But I've been up for air really for just a few months. And I know that the WAVwatch is a huge part of that. But so can everybody remember? Brave, balance, move your body first thing in the morning, respect. Start your day by respecting your body with nourishing and energizing foods. Adapt. Reframe those negative thoughts with my swap technique. Swap it out for good thoughts. Visualize at the end of the day, gratitude for today and anticipation for tomorrow. And then embrace. Create a screen-free evening so that you can get a good night's rest. So hopefully I have had everybody start to think in maybe some ways that you have heard or seen before, but maybe this is reinforcing it in a slightly different way. How about you, Linda?
Wow, I just thought that was so much information to gather in. Sometimes we've heard bits and pieces of it, but the way you put it together was just truly amazing, so that we can remember it better, Yeah. And I don't know what to emphasize the most. I mean, I was really moving when you said, talked about the detox, from EMFs and our blue screens and things like that. And, we're not doing that enough. And then people wonder why they can't sleep or why their mind is, overloaded. And so you just reminded us one more time, one more way that we need to take better care of ourselves. So we're not doing that. We are not taking care of ourselves sometimes.
Right.
And we all have that,
Yeah.
and we might take better care of other people, and we can look at our, our close people close to us and see what they should be doing. And we don't look internally to ourselves as much as we should, is what I think. So what you did just made us look a little bit closer internally.
Yeah, I had to, a lot of what I went through over the years because I felt horrible for many, many years. And that's what my kids saw. And it became just a downhill spiral. And there are, tools in my bag of tricks that have helped me tremendously. And again, I think connecting with you was just the perfect timing, because I got the WAVwatch right before my diagnosis. So I already had made friends with it and got familiar and was using it as a tool. So therefore, when I went and was doing my whole detox and everything, it was a huge part of helping me just have a routine and almost like a buddy system to really go, okay, because boy, I tell you, within, as soon as I got the diagnosis, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to check what frequencies that the WAVwatch has for all of this storm that I'm going through. And so, I had my favorites list and everything within there. And of course, there was one specifically for Lyme disease. And then everything, and then the chronic headaches and the inflammation, and I could feel that a higher amount of the inflammation or the headache was ensuing, and by habit, I might have been going to, oh, well, what pain med am I going to take, and what am I going to do, and then that's where I kind of started the thought process of swap. I'm like, no, I need to really do an exchange. And I'm like, okay, before I go running to the bottle, why don't I go to my watch and maybe there's a part of it that's placebo. I could care less. But then I would, with those tones, I'm like, maybe I don't need the ibuprofen right now. And, so, and Linda, as you're laughing, so maybe you could speak a little bit to the science of what was going on with me when I'm like, okay, this frequency is really helping.
Well, I talk so much about Lyme's disease, and you haven't seen this yet, but our new watch, we have something that's called First Wave, and that's what we tell everybody to play when they get started. And we've always told them parasites and detox, but what we added on the 2.0 was Lyme disease. We put that in that category of must play. You must do this. And it's just, it is a fact. You have to dig really deep, but there are about 300 diseases associated with Lyme disease. And Leisa, almost every single one of those, when people came into my office, during the last 15 years, if they had that many problems, I mean, it was just Lyme disease 99% of the time. And I had a machine that I used that would test and that would help us with this. But I could actually, tell because of the enormity of the situation that people were facing with so many different symptoms. Think of Lyme disease. And, I've said this, I'll repeat it one more time, but Lyme disease is not from a tick anymore. It is contagious, and they have found it in every single body fluid. Whole families get Lyme disease. They pass it from one to the other, but they don't have the same symptoms, So that's why the WAVwatch can be so helpful because all of them could have access to the Lyme disease, and then their individual problems that they have could be worked on just a little bit more. And I'll say this one more time. You can get Lyme disease on an airplane. You know, somebody on that airplane has Lyme disease, they're circulating the air, you get off, and if your immune system is not working, you've got it, you know, and you have no idea where it came from. So I could tell you got some idea there.
Okay. This I did not know. So when I was diagnosed last, it was like May or June or something like that. Anyway, so a gentleman that I work with at First Fitness Nutrition had noticed that he was like, as he says, this woman is sick. There's something wrong. And he had said, Leisa, have you ever been tested for Lyme disease? And I just thought, ick, gross, a tick bite. And he kept pushing, and finally, so I got tested and everything from a naturopath route and an MD route. But in the medical community, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars going to different doctors, and them, you know, I'm with them for 15 minutes, and then I've got this diagnosis and that, and but Lyme disease did bring those on. But why in the world did none of them go, let's just throw in that test for Lyme disease? So instead, what I was going through was people in my personal and professional circle seeing me this way. And then I started to be in self-induced solitary confinement because people thought that I was a hypochondriac, that I was lazy, that maybe I was an alcoholic, maybe I was a drug addict. What's wrong with Leisa now? And so it really to now I have researched it, but I have never heard your perspective and your research on that it is contagious. There are so many things that people are out there paying a ton of money to doctors for that, oh, let's stick this label on it, let's give you this med. And then for me, I was on 8 different prescription medications at one time. And
Yes.
This was 3 years ago when it got to that point. My blood pressure was off the charts. I could not sleep because the pain, it was too difficult to lay on this side, too difficult to lay on that side. My jaw is even disfigured because of all of the grinding of my teeth. But 3 years ago, I checked myself into a facility because I wanted to swallow all the pills. And once I got there, I realized I was in a lot better state than a lot of the people there. And it was actually a really uplifting in a way.
It's on the brave path, right?
Yeah. But it did, I did say, I can't be on all these meds anymore because they're not working, and that I had gotten to the point where I considered swallowing them all. And I am still here because I was raised Catholic, and I still have the fear that I would rot in hell. And so thank goodness for that. So the fear of them, helped me to still be here. And plus I was like, God, that would be really mean to do to my children and my family and everything. But when you're in such constant pain and you can't sleep and you can't function, you're not thinking very clearly. So I feel that back when we met, and that was when I aligned with the company First Fitness Nutrition, who that gentleman, God put him in my life for him to say, have you ever been tested for Lyme disease? And pushing me to get that diagnosis, and then connecting with you. And so these are 2 of the huge paths with the WAVwatch, and then with the products that I'm using with First Fitness Nutrition that have just
Changed your life.
Just changed my life. I feel better today at 57 years old than I have in my entire adult life.
Oh. Oh.
And I'm like, shame on me if I do not use my power of persuasion, my platform, my passion to share my story and help others realize that you don't have to have a scarlet letter. I did that one like the loser earlier. You don't have to have a scarlet letter, and with the right tools and with the right solutions, whether it's something, from OCD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, whatever the case may be, there are actually even job paths that are better suited for those of us that have these secret superpowers, and that they don't have to be a secret. I envision there being a day where someone is looking to hire an individual and that they'll find it an extreme benefit that they have OCD because they will have great attention to detail. So,
go ahead.
Oh, so anyway, so just that, that I'm just so thankful that I feel so good. And, I was able to function and have great success with a very mediocre mind balance. And now my mind is so well balanced that I am on fire. And, everything that I went through, if God told me today, Leisa, I'm going to take away how good you feel, unless you go through it all again, I would do it all again. I would do it all again, because otherwise I wouldn't want to be here. Now I really want to be here. Now things like flossing my teeth are easy. Things like just flossing my teeth were just too stressful to even think about. I had this jacket that I wore all the time that my kids called it my homeless woman jacket. And, it took me practically being homeless to get to the point of being able to get the help that I needed and come up for air. And I have truly come home.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You just don't even know what to say. It's so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm just overwhelmed too with you coming out and telling us about this. I mean, it's like you could add one more idea to your E on the brave, and that's education. What you have just done.
Hey, it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone.
What you have just done is educate everybody. And it was totally off the, the cuff that, I knew a little bit of information to share with you about Lyme's disease, but people do not know this. And I have been trying to get information out to people, because medical doctors still in Kansas City tell us that there is no such thing as Lyme disease in our area. That is not correct. It has spread across the country. It's just like Zoom, And then guess what? The idea that you had with the digital detox, guess what sets all of these pathogens up from Lyme's disease? It accelerates them, sometimes makes them 800% worse when we have too many EMFs. So we have just taken our health to an extremely bad level, just because we didn't know that there are so many co-infections with Lyme disease. There's bacteria, there's viruses, there's parasites, and some of those bacteria are called spirochetes. So they're spiral shaped, and they do not react or work with bacteria. But what does the medical community give you first? If they even figure out that you have Lyme disease, they give you antibiotics, usually for 2 years. That's usually I don't know what you had, I'm not asking this, but that is a common thing. Well, that doesn't get to everything.
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible to go on an antibiotic for 2 years.
And so then your body becomes so over the top, and then that allows the parasites or the viruses or something else to take over, and then more problems arise. So then they're all kicked in and made much, much worse by the EMFs that we are all around today. So this cycle has just gotten worse and worse and worse. And it started 70 years ago. And I'll just throw this in. I said 70 years ago. It started in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
But have you learned how Lyme disease started?
Do tell. I listened to some audibles at the beginning of my journey, and I need to listen to them again because I didn't retain it. Okay, so 1970s.
Yeah, so they found a lot of younger middle-aged school children and high school children, that age, who were actually having rheumatoid arthritis, a whole, almost like an epidemic of them. So they sent in epidemiologists to study this group of school kids and to try to figure out what was going on. And it took them 7 years or so to narrow it down to a particular, spirochete, which they named, quote unquote, Lyme disease. But the technical term is called Borrelia burgdorferi, after the scientist who was in charge of the study. Okay. So it was named Lyme disease because it was in Lyme, Connecticut. Okay.
Okay.
So what did they find in Lyme, Connecticut? What's in Lyme, Connecticut?
Deers.
No.
What?
The U.S. has a lab studying these kind of things. And I'm struggling for the right name that I want to say. It has been moved to Manhattan, Kansas now, or is in the process. So they are studying germs. And so what had happened is one of these germs had gotten out. They have pretty much proved that. And there's several books written about it, all kinds of books. So this lab that they were studying all these things, and no matter what you want to call it, something escaped, and the whole area of Lyme, Connecticut was infected.
I do recall now it's a book called Bitten.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the Audible, and now I recall that. Okay.
So it may have started with, being bitten, but it is no longer that. It has just gone gangbusters since the 70s. So if you can imagine how fast it spread, and then take it goes into everything. So I do know a veterinarian here who was I think it was 40 acres. And he had students come out and, gather up animals on his 40 acres to test and stuff. And they all had Lyme disease. Every single animal that they, found on this property was carrying Lyme disease. So everything has it, not just us, it's being passed on in so many ways, shapes, and form, and made worse by our EMFs.
No. And EMFs for our listeners, electromagnetic
frequencies. You were talking about your cell phone. We're talking about the computer that we're sitting right in front of, and anything. If you wear a watch that's connected to the internet, the brands I'm talking about. You are actually just sitting there and feeding all kinds of pathogens. It doesn't just have to be Lyme disease. It could be something else. It will make all of them worse. They grow faster.
Well, and that's one of the things that I love about the WAVwatch is because, and folks, hear me loud, hear me proud, you can wear it all night long and you're not getting the EMFs.
Yeah.
And so and then one of the other habits, when that digital detox is that I keep my phone in the bathroom. And twofold. One, when my alarm goes off in the morning, which I rarely even I wake up now before my alarm, but I've got to get up and walk to go to it. And then plus I'm not letting those, I used to sleep with the phone like by my pillow. And so we're unconsciously and unknowingly, and not all of it is our fault, we're doing things to our distinct detriment.
Yes.
And a lot of it is because of the marketing and these wonderful gadgets and things and thought processes and everything. But I tell you what, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And many of us think that, oh, I need to sacrifice and not sleep as much and not do this and not work out because I need to spend more time with my family. Hogwash. You have got to spend more time on yourself so that when you are with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, then you're more valuable. You're not sucking the energy out of the room. You're putting energy into
it. Yes.
Once you have put the energy into yourself.
Well, Leisa, I think you did that. You are not giving yourself enough credit for that. And I just met you in person once, and then, our other interview, but you give out energy. You are amazing. So give yourself more credit, and, don't think that the times you were down that you were, sucking off of people. I think you were a giver.
I appreciate that. And I was able to, I just made sure that I didn't do business or public appearances when I was down. So I had to reschedule things, everything. But my family did get the brunt of the energy suck. And there was a lot of that. But as I'm, coming out in the open and I'm putting together this initiative, bravecompass.org, and this is your path to your mental superpower. And I'll be having an online course and starting a podcast series on it. And then within the .org, it's a PBC, a public benefit corporation. So with, very, very mission driven. And so I am putting together my board of directors, and instead of calling it my board of directors, it's my power panel. And Linda, I was wondering if you know of anyone that might be the perfect match with regard to frequency studies and theories and naturopathic healing and everything. Do you know of anyone that might be good for being on my power panel? This is my way of publicly saying, will you be my bestie in that area? Will you be on my power panel?
I'd love to. That would be so fun. Wow.
So, because I want to have resources, because I need to surround myself around people who are smarter than me. That's just what smart people do. And so I need to have all these resources. And when I do this, I'm imagining the buttons on the side of the screen and everything, so that they can go and experience some of the great things that helped me to come up for air, to literally be able to breathe and live again. And so I want WAVwatch front and center on there. And so Linda, you and I mesh so well. This is only our second time to webinar together. But I would love for you to be on my power panel, be a resource, and then that we lead some webinars and podcasts together, because people need to know that they could be, there's a simple test, there's blood work, and then there are other tests that I'm sure that you do that I would love to hear more about. And I want my audience to hear more about. But I think that there's a huge, huge need to educate, which we're changing that E. It's going to be educate.
We're going to add educate to it, or whatever.
Because people do need to know that there are ways that they can dig a little deeper that are not that difficult to find out what's really going on.
And we have to share that information, because it is not being shared by our, the medical field. So it's more the natural field that is going to share that in a little bit different way. But person to person, people are picking up that Lyme disease is something that we need to pay so much more attention to. And then, this podcast right here will just bring it to more people's attention, because you shared, Leisa. That's the neatest part, that you share.
Well, I have been warming up to it by just within the last month, voicing it to family and friends. Everybody knew about, all of my family and friends knew about the Lyme disease, but the bipolar disorder was something that I was keeping a secret. And I've kept a secret for almost 15 years. And I wasn't being treated for it because when I was first diagnosed in my early 40s, I took some prescription meds, 2 meds, a lithium and a sleeping pill, and I took them for almost 1 week, and I felt like a huge blob vegetable. So I just went to, I was only diagnosed in 1 session, which that's all it took. But I went into denial, and I went, I don't need the meds. I don't need anything. And then it's like the chicken or the egg, which came first, the Lyme disease or the bipolar disorder.
That's right.
And so, but Lyme disease would it be accurate to say mimic or bring on both?
Different. Yeah.
Either way. And so therefore my life got worse and worse and worse. I mean, from just physical, mental, spiritual, health, finances, try running a business. I had a brick and mortar for 5 years during that time, owned my own yoga studio. And I turned my passion into punishment, but I started the business. I know that I already had the Lyme disease. Yeah. I was in a horrible way. And I went into stage 4 adrenal failure. It was just a huge mess for my family. And so I say it over and over again, shame on me if I keep this a secret any longer and don't help others. But I have finally, I am having under psychiatric care, and I found a psychiatrist who actually talks to me, not just talks at me. And I am on a prescription medication. I'll tell everybody it's called Latuda. It's helping me to be balanced. And, but I only started it in January. And up until that point, I know that my supplementation and my WAVwatch were just keeping me afloat and helping me to get clearer and clearer and clearer. I would like to be at a point in my life where maybe I'm not on any prescription meds, but for right now, this is everything's working, and I am not going to change a thing for quite a while.
And Leisa just mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to go over a little bit more. So if you know somebody, or if you yourself have long-term health problems of all different kinds that they have not been able to diagnose, start thinking Lyme disease immediately. I have talked to people who have been sick for one lady was 26 years before they diagnosed it as Lyme disease. And Leisa, yours was a long time too, It
was my kid's entire life. Like I said, my oldest is 24, and at least, and my youngest is 19, at least for her entire life, I have been in horrible health.
And the medical community does have a very hard time diagnosing it. They have a test that they do, but the test is looking for antibodies from all of these different co-infections. Well, these are stealth pathogens. Here's some different wording, but they're stealth pathogens, and they don't make antibodies. So their test doesn't come up with anything. So people go on for 26 years, 24 years, whatever it was, without it being discovered that they have Lyme disease. So reach out to some different types of testing, and be aware if you know somebody that's been sick for a long time, undiagnosed, think Lyme and get started.
Yeah,
so that's because of your education, Leisa. And
yes.
Thank you.
We will have to collaborate more. And
well, I think we have a few minutes left, but I don't know if we have any questions that Joseph and John want to share with us, or what you'd like to do anything else you want to comment on, Leisa? But
let's see if Joseph and John have anything.
Well, I was just going to say, wow, thank you for being brave and sharing so much of your heartfelt journey and the really challenging things and the real live, I think that's so many people just don't dig in and try to figure out what's going on, right? Just keep medicating or avoiding, ignoring. And, the only way we can improve our health is if we address it and get help, right? And keep persevering. So thank you for
your honesty and sharing. That was really powerful. So
yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I let my older brother go first. He said all the good words, and I'm just kidding. No, it was incredible, and we do really thank you for feeling comfortable to share and for your honesty. And I think there's a lot in that conversation and presentation between both of you, and getting the awareness out there for Lyme and for many other things, but also for mental health and also digital habits, like you were both talking about as well. So just so many different things that we can even focus more on. So yes, very, very exciting, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What
All
else
right,
what else have we got here today, guys?
Well, I was just going to say we could just take some questions in the chat, but we could even combine that with maybe if you have a question for Leisa or a highlight from the show, we'll start the giveaway. And so to be eligible for the giveaway, you just need to comment in the chat with either a question for Leisa or your favorite takeaway from the webinar. So drop a comment in and we'll pick a random number to give away a free WAVwatch.
Wow. And so the WAVwatch, I cannot wait to get mine.
Yes.
So beautiful. Okay, so Linda, you've got, what color is that? Is that kind of like a bluish or a black, or?
It's
graphite.
Graphite. Oh.
And then here's the opposite one. This is more, it looks a little bit cream colored, but it's, not quite pink. It's the rose gold.
Oh, beautiful.
Rose gold.
I think I'm going to need both. Oh, I'm so proud of you guys and happy that how you've evolved into your 2.0. And are you calling it 2.0, or am I just calling it that?
We are calling it. Yep, definitely.
We started calling it V2 for a while, but that was also the name of the first rocket bomb. So I didn't want to bomb it out. So we had to kind of shift a little bit. So yes.
The 2.0. Well, see, I'm calling myself Leisa 2.0.
Boom.
So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my, this is just.
There's coincidences here, isn't it? After a while.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. All right. Well, I've grabbed a random number for my wife, her favorite number, and our comment in the chat that we're going to give away a free WAVwatch is from Kate. And she says this: my favorite takeaway is that we need to take care of ourselves, and the many ways the WAVwatch can help us do that. So congratulations, Kate. You are the winner of a free WAVwatch, and I'll send you an email and connect you to get that shipped out so you can pick a rose gold or graphite. So
awesome. Congratulations, Kate. And thank you.
And we've got a few questions, but some of the people had asked what did you use on the WAVwatch for Lyme? Did the Lyme folders or anything else specific?
There was actually because I have the 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's got about 30 different ones, aren't there?
Yeah. And so there were many different that when I went through I guess it's from A to Z, that because of my research on Lyme, I'm like, okay, it affects this, this, and this. And so I just was plugging all of those into one of my playlists. But there was one specifically that said Lyme.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And so for everybody who's curious, of course, all the same frequencies on the WAVwatch 2.0. We've got that Lyme Wave. That's a playlist of all of those same frequencies.
Wave.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So
That is exciting. Let me see how it hooks. Is it Velcro or it's an actual, okay.
Yeah, and we also have a Velcro band so Leisa, it must be me. I dropped the ball. I had you on my list and I'm not sure what happened. So I'm gonna have to send a
That's okay. You can just send me both. You can just send me both.
And yeah, so it's the same band connection. And then what we can't announce exactly, but so it's not technically, we can't technically advertise it as waterproof yet. We're waiting on certification, but it is much more
close to it,
resistant and water resistant
Uh-huh.
than the last one. And it was very, very exciting. And then, speaking of, I do see a lot of people asking about some battery things going on. And so I'll try to answer a few little questions here in the chat. But one thing is, we advertise about 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of frequency usage. And yes, the screen does go black when it's going. And then the way to wake it up is not by touching the screen, but by touching the button. And then other ways to maximize your battery usage is when you're playing the Wave. I'm going to do this backwards. When you're playing the WAVwatch, you do a volume here. We do not recommend a volume of over 2. It is high powered, although there's not a lot of sound leakage because when it contacts your skin, it doesn't really come through. So this is really loud, but when it's on my skin, you really can't hear it.
Well, and the person, Linda, is this correct? We don't have to actually hear it.
You feel it. Yeah, our body is absorbing it. That's right.
Yeah.
And then with that battery, but we're looking about 8 hours per charge, and there's other ways to also keep in mind that if the WAVwatch shuts off, that doesn't mean that it's dead. So you could play the last frequency in a folder, and if you have it set, if you have the WAVwatch, if you're playing the last frequency in a folder and you have the WAVwatch set like this, which is play through, it will just shut itself off because that's what it's designed to do. So there's a few different things in the power saving. You can turn power saving off, and even if it's not playing a frequency, it will continue to remain on. So there's a few little things like that, and there's maybe some misconceptions about the battery, like, oh, it shut it off, but that doesn't mean it's dead. It's just designed to shut itself off after finishing its frequency. So
yeah. So we do have a few more questions on the batteries on these and how they work,
Yeah.
Charging system.
We have to do another Q&A on that, but
yeah, for sure. But no, I was just trying to head a few off at the pass there.
And a big one, someone just asked, if the sound is 0, does it still provide benefits? No, you're not playing anything. There's no vibration for your body to absorb. It has to make a sound. Okay. You don't have to hear it, but it does have to be one or more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
I love that it's analog.
Yeah.
My kids barely know how to read an analog clock, and it's time to teach them again. To write in cursive and read an analog clock.
There you go.
So last but not least, we had several people asking about a special, and so we do have an exclusive special for everybody on the webinar today. And this is Leisa. This is your code. So everybody that uses the code HART, HART, can get $150 off 1, $300 off 2, or $500 off 3. And we've also got free shipping through the end of this week, through Friday night. So you've got another 2 days if you want to get a WAVwatch with our January special. And definitely use Leisa's code HART, or if you've got another affiliate you want to support, that's fine as well. But love to support Leisa. So
yeah. Well, that's, goodness gracious, $500 off 3. So somebody could get them for their whole family, because I will share mine, but I would prefer not to.
And I don't want to make too big a point of it, but Leisa, you want to protect your whole family now that you know that it can be passed, and those people have different symptoms. So that's why it's not obvious at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have got and I'm sure our viewers and our listeners have gone, wait a minute, this might be what you could connect the dots. And then that the WAVwatch, really, even the WAVwatch can help with things that we're not even diagnosed with, obviously. but the education.
Mm-hmm. And something else, this is something John has been instrumental in creating, is we're doing a little fun thing. So the first 50 orders that order today will get a little something extra to stay warm.
Little beanie.
How's that?
I love that. Okay, put that in with my 2 WAVwatches.
Yes,
I've been working hard and doing some crochet work. So
You are so talented.
I'm just being funny, but yes. So we've got something to help stay warm. And if I was real cheeky, I would have ordered them in red for the Chiefs, Linda. But we'll keep it not Chiefs colored, and keep it on even keel.
yeah.
All inclusive.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gray, a dark gray with a bit of a navy. So it's a kind of a navy gray.
My kids would wear that. I would wear that. That's you guys picked out a good one. It's fashion.
Yeah.
And Dee, thank you for the comment. You can also make payments. Don't forget, if you're wanting to check out, when you're ready to check out, you can make payments, and you can also have HSA and FSA pay for this also. So you don't really, if this is something that you're really interested in to help somebody you know and love, or you yourself, you're supposed to take care of yourself better, then there's different ways that you can help you afford it, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I will leave that up. And I think unless you guys see any more questions, we can wrap up. But thank you so much for joining us, Leisa. Thank you for everyone who joined the call, and those who are watching the replay. We appreciate all of you, and we're really thankful for everyone who's a part of the WAVwatch family.
Absolutely.
And we just want to thank Leisa for sharing. And that's what has been amazing about the WAVwatch, that people share it with each other. And now we have people sharing stories that will help others also. Thanks for sharing, Leisa.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it was an honor, and I appreciate everyone being patient with me and letting me work my way through that. But I can do it. Now I've done one. I can do it.
You can do it. You're brave. You're brave.
You're brave. We're all brave. We're all learning to be brave.
All right.
All right.
Lots of love, everyone.
Well, can't wait to talk to you soon about being on my power panel, and I can't wait to get my WAVwatch as watches. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.